Yo, what up, guys? Today I want to talk about the 36 charge power stacking frenzy endurance charge penance brand of dissipation lucky block slayer strike character that I've been playing over the last couple of weeks now in the league. A lot of you guys have asked, especially after the last video, oh my god, can I have the POB? What are you playing? You need to make a video. Hello, what are you playing? Hello, POB, can I see what you're doing? Please, sir, POB. And well, I wanted to take the time to make this video, talk about the character, and kind of give you guys a quick rundown. This character and the thought behind it comes from a viewer in my chat named Blossom. I have talked about Blossom before. Dude's very smart. And he came to me with the idea of this character. He showcased it off. He started putting it together. It looked awesome. And over the last couple of weeks, I've been building it and buying parts for it and upgrading it and playing it. And honestly, this has been one of the coolest characters that I've played. Now, if you watched the last Strongbox video that I've posted, you know exactly what the character looks like when it plays. But if you haven't watched the video and you don't really know what's going on, I'm going to hop right into a map. I'll show you guys what's going on. And pretty much we could talk about the character and like how it works and what's really going on. Now, we're going to be doing the typical map test, the Anarchy tier 16, ghosted rogue exiles. This character can take a hit. It can absolutely positively 100% take a hit. It's got relatively good defensive layers, and it can clear screens relatively well. This character will die to a couple of things. One, rogue exiles with resolute technique that just kill you out of nowhere. Two, if you choose to not ever block, you will die approximately 4% of the time because your character decided it was a really good idea to put its shield down and not cover its face. And three, if you get hit by floating meatballs in tier 17 maps, those will pretty much kill you as well. Outside of that, the character has 13 endurance charges, billions, or not billions, but about 1,800 life regen per second, tons of, endurance charges for stacking all kinds of defenses, capped resistances, and 96% chance to block thanks to lucky block. And well, we'll pretty much go over the block and how it works. But you see here, these are gigantic rogue exiles. We just pretty much stand still, and we're able to kill everything without too much of a problem. Now, this character has been what I've been playing for a little while. It has felt absolutely fantastic, and it is the first character in a long time that I personally want to invest a lot, and I mean a lot of currency into. This character has really, wow, that thing bricked 6 length. This character in itself has absolutely positively fantastic scaling. You can pretty much scale it to the moon. Where I'm at in the character right now when I talk about the gear and stuff isn't even the highest of points that it can get to. Blossom has taken it to extreme new levels where he has taken the current budget and made it even more multi-mirror and has changed it up altogether and has made it really cool. Now you see with the way that it maps inside of a tier 16, it's relatively straightforward. Rogue exiles, especially ghosted rogue exiles and gigantic rogue exiles, are usually no joke. Usually they hit really hard, and they can actually cause a lot of builds a lot of problems. And one of the really cool things about my 6 link right now with my Penance brand of Dissipation is this damage that you're witnessing is with item rarity in the 6 link. This isn't even its truest potential. I'm currently, while making this video, talking to you guys, actually like taking a minute to magic find on these mobs, because honestly, the damage is way more higher than it even showcases that it is. But we'll do another map, we'll swap the links around, and I'll showcase a little bit of another map and what it looks like with, a regular Lincoln. Now you see we're doing this map, everything's going accordingly, it's going absolutely swimmingly, every single mob is getting 100% deleted. Tier 16 maps are just an absolute positive cakewalk. The same can be said for tier 17 maps. We can open up a tier 17 map and just pretty much blitz through the whole map without too much of an issue. Now I'm going to save you guys a lot of the time. I'm not going to do the rituals and stuff on this map just for clarity's sake, or for time's sake, for this video. But I am going to go put these in the duster really quick. Now, this character in itself can be played without a mageblood. I will admit openly that I would never play it without a mage blood. I have a POB for you guys of it without a mage blood. I would never play it without a mage blood. It does not feel good without a mage blood. But once you have a mage blood and a couple of small pieces, you can really put it together. If you want to play it without a mage blood, the Graven's cloth belt, the Graven's secret cloth belt, is a really good substitute. And if you're going to play it without a mage blood, you need to be very technical and very skilled. Otherwise, the character is going to feel not very good. So let's swap these around. Let's have the concentrated effect in. We'll actually do one more Rogue Exile map, and I'll showcase to you guys on the Rogue Exiles what it looks like when you have the absolute positive correct links in. And then we can actually do a shaper or cortex shaper. We'll do a shaper and we'll show you guys what it looks like with a shaper in. Now let's do it. All right, let's hop into this and let's just go kill some Rogue Exiles really quick, and then we'll showcase the shaper, and then we'll talk about the POV, how the character works, all its functionality, and just kind of give you guys a real rundown. We'll hit this deli while we're at it too. Now, you notice a couple of things. One, I'm using Explode from Oriath's End. Oriath's End is what's giving me really nice clear on the map. Explode and Penance brand pretty much go hand in hand together. You really want the Explode to make your maps feel really juicy and really nice. You can see that's the big Rogue Exile right there. It's immediately dead. Didn't even notice that one died too. And you know, you can see the difference in the damage between the last map and this map. It's still, they still just fall over, dude. It's so funny. Oh, I love it. It's an absolute fantastic time. All right, let me just make sure there's no divine altars here. We'll grab this, and that's about it. Now, the things like I had mentioned earlier that can kill this character is if any of these Rogue Exiles guys have the Resolute Technique mod and they can just negate all of my defenses, they'll just pretty much one-tap me and it'll feel really bad. If any of these guys have like massive overbearing degens, I'll probably die to that. And then yeah, if my character decides to not block 4% of the time, it'll die then. But otherwise, you can see right away we cut through all the content here, easy peasy. There's rogues, they've died. We're gonna grab this shrine. That's a big rogue right there. This one's crit resistant, literally crit resistant, which is like the bane of my existence, and it's dead. So I mean, like, a lot of our damage literally comes from like crits because we're charge stacking. So, you know, crit resistant mobs are like the worst thing in the world. And then we come back over here, we grab this, and then we kill them. Where's the goat? There's the Goat King. Get our map. Realize it's not a mage blood. Tank the tornado. And then we're out of here. So yeah, maps in themselves feel great. I actually really enjoy mapping with this character a lot. I think it's absolutely fantastic and a really good time. We'll deal with this later. Now let's throw in a Uber Shaper, because that's just the fragments that I have. Now in testing, this has been able to survive pretty much a lot of nonsense that Shaper has to offer, and it really hasn't been too much of an issue. Now, I should be changing this flask out to something better, but I'm a little lazy, so we're not going to do it, and we're just going to leave in our gold flask, and we'll just like kind of showcase how it works. So we just kill the first guy. I don't think we can tank Shaper slams. I think Shaper slam will kill me, I think, assuming we can't. I don't think we could block a Shaper slam. As long as you can block it, you can tank it 96% of the time. Asterisk star asterisk 96% of the time. And I mean, you know, if you die 4% of the time, you die 4% of the time. There's just like, that just is what it is. It just absolutely is what it is. All right, so now I'm purposely doing this with the void battery on, and I'm purposely doing this with these clusters in, and I'm not using the upgraded mirror tier weapon that I managed to pick up, because I want to showcase the build at the what I feel is the minimum that you need to really make it work comfortably. And I don't want to be like, oh my god, here's like my 18 mirror items, and it works because I have 18 mirror items. Then I gotta listen to somebody being like, oh my god, it only worked because you had a mirror wand and a mage blood and blah 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 blah. Hey, yeah, you're right. I had a lot of gear. I'm sorry, but you know, we're going in. We're cruising. This guy could actually probably kill us. That mob could probably kill us because the laser's a dot. So. Okay. We're waiting. So you see there, we can't take the Shaper Slam. That's what I said. The Shaper Slam will kill us. I don't think we can block that. But everything else, like you saw, the balls were not a problem. Even this phase right here, we just run into them. Nothing happens to us. We're pretty good. Shaper Beam, you know, we can regen a lot of the Shaper Beam. Shaper Slam, like I said, will kill you. You can't block that. So the only things that give you a hard time that you cannot sustain are certain things that can't be blocked. I know the Shaper Slam can't be blocked. We've seen that. And I know that we cannot block the meatballs in tier 17 maps. Those will indeed kill you. Otherwise, I mean, like, there's not really a whole lot. I have talked to a friend. I don't have an Uber Maven. I have been told that you can tank and block the Uber Maven memory game explosion, which I thought was really cool. You can't tank the laser beams that shut off your regen, though, from Maven. Obviously, those are, like, you know, a big no-no. But yeah, man, I mean, the build in itself, it feels really, really, really good. I know somebody's gonna be like, oh my god, you're yapping. Stop yapping. Just kill the damn boss. And I am doing my best over here. I promise. We're just gonna stand in these. As long as we block 96% of the time, we're okay. Oh, I should probably put this on too, huh? This probably would have helped. And we just kind of like AFK. And then you see the damage, like, it's really good. He's taking 70% less damage and we insta-phased him. Like, it's pretty nutty, man. Like, it's actually pretty nutty. Let's just do this last phase really quick, and then we'll talk about the character and the build. Okay. Kill this guy really quick. Even this, like, I could just stand in this. We just have so much regen. It just, like, doesn't matter. Oh, there he goes. Eh. Eh. And just like that, he's dead. Nice, dude. Let's go. All right, so let's talk about the character, what's going on, how it works, and pretty much everything that we need to know. Hide my face for this one. Right now we have 2,900 life. Our defenses are capped resistance, almost capped chaos resistance. I could cap this if I fixed my stuff, and we are 80 all block. Thanks to Lucky Block from A Forbidden Flame and Flesh, we are actually at 96% chance to block. So all of our defenses are literally the fact that our character likes to block, and it will block, and it can block. Now, the character in itself can be played. I had mentioned it can be played without mageblood. I do have a POB that I'm going to include in the description down below with gear choices that don't revolve around a mageblood and a rare power charge ring. But things to note, if you choose to copy the budget variant of this build and you choose to play the budget variant of this build, while yes, it could still kill Tormented Feared in Valdo maps, it is very mechanically difficult to play. You will die more often, you will not be as tanky, your damage ramp up will be a little bit slower, and it'll just feel relatively bad to play. If you choose to, and I said, a disclaimer again, choose to play it as a budget build, I would not play it until you're about level 94 or 95. I just wouldn't even play it without Mageblood to begin with. But if you are going to play it, you pretty much grab a Shimmeron, a Will Clash with power charges, a replica Restless Ward with good regen, a Badge of the Brotherhood, a Malachi's Loop, some Ralakash, an Oriat's End, the Forbidden Flame and Flesh, a Chaos Resistance Purity of Elements, a basic Jewel for cast speed, this to give you power charge damage, and an Oriat's End and power charge rings, and you go. But I'll leave this. You guys can make your own assessment and judgment. I wouldn't do it, but if you choose to, go for it. Now, the big things to note with this character, couple of things. One, you want to make sure that when you're building it and you're playing it and you're checking your POB, you want to make sure that your activations per brand showcase it to be at 20%. If you do not have this 20, your brands will not be at their max capacity for max pulse per brand. You will not get the max amount of damage that your character can do. And if your damage feels bad, check your POB and make sure that you're getting activations per brand to be 20. The character in itself, you could play it 94, 93. It feels really good with more levels. I'll be 100% brutally honest with you. My friend Scott is playing it right now. He started it at he swapped to it at 91. He was like, hey, it feels a little bad. I was like, hey, you're missing this and this and this and this. And he got to about 97, 98, and it really started to flow. It just, once it hits that level breakpoint, it pretty much turns a corner and it's absolutely beautiful. The gear can get a little pricey. This build is not for the faint of heart. This is people have been asking me for the POB and to explain how it works, and that's pretty much the nature of this video. This video is for all of you that keep asking me about it. And this isn't to convince you to play it. This is just me explaining how it works and what's going on and what you can do and how you could scale it and stuff like that if you so choose to. But no, you don't have to. When I started putting this together, some of the gear was super cheap, some of the gear was super expensive, and the gear has completely fluctuated. So all of the prices, depending on when you watch this video, will probably fluctuate from when I am talking about it and from when I personally purchase pieces of gear. But let's get into it. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use a void battery. Our void battery, very notably, needs to have maximum cast speed. It is absolutely positively 100% absolutely mandatory. You need so much cast speed in this build. Because we lost the flash suffix, you absolutely positively 100% want to get a void battery with 20% cast speed. If you can, and if possible, get a void battery with as close to critical strike chance as possible to high crit. My current void battery with these rolls is about 4 or 5 divs, not too terrible. Inside the void battery, we have frost bomb. We use frost bomb to literally stop all of the mobs that have insane life regeneration. We can easily cast our frost bomb. It covers a large majority of the screen, and we don't have to worry about things. Usually we're able to brand up the mob, frost bomb it, and kill it before we ever have to worry again. We have item rarity. This pretty much can be swapped out with the concentrated effect. You saw that earlier. And we're using spell cascade so that our frost bomb hits a large majority of the screen. Our helmet, we are using a will clash. It is very important that you use this helmet because you're using this helmet for one very, 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 very important thing. The line of text on it that says chance to block spell damage per power charge. Because we are a charge stacking build, and because we have 12 charges or 12 power charges, you are getting an absolute metric ton of spell block because of the helmet. If I were to take the helmet off, you see right away, we lose pretty much all of our spell block. And without this helmet, you would have to figure out how to get your spell block back up to 80%. Block is our biggest thing in this build. Now, our helmet does have maximum power charges on it. More power charges, more damage, more you kill things faster, more power charge, more block. A helmet with just the will clash with power charges right now is about 7.5, 8 divs. With 5%, you're looking at 14, 15. The extra percent of damage is really nice. You don't need the 2% is whatever. You really just care about the helmet with the power charges. In our helmet, we have hatred so that we can convert some fizz, or fizz is extra cold. We have an enlighten 4. You need an enlighten 4 to fit all of your auras. You can see right now my auras are currently off. I put them back on. We have a zealotry and we have a haste. Haste is what allows us to get our cast breakpoints. Our body armor, we have a replica Restless Ward. The Restless Ward, the -2 to maximum endurance and frenzy charges, is literally, absolutely, positively 100% irrelevant to what we're doing. Because we're stacking power charges, we get maximum frenzy charges and we get maximum endurance charges all of the time with Ralakesh. And this body armor pretty much gives us an insane amount of movement speed. You see right now, I don't have a Quicksilver flask on. None of my flasks have movement speed suffix. And you see we have a really nice movement speed going on because of all the charges. If I take this body armor off, we get relatively slower. The body armor in itself also has another line of text on it that is very, very, very important. And that is the regenerate life per second per endurance charge. Because we have 12 endurance charges, we get 136 life times 12. And if I look at my POB right now, it's about 15 to 1700 life regen, depending on if I have the power charge from the void battery or the mirror wand on. But you have like 1700 life regen per second. Ideally, you get the replica restless ward with +1 socketed gems. And ideally, best in slot would be replica restless ward with +1 socketed gems and then +2 to anything that would scale Penance brand even more. So like a +3 armor. Replica Restless Ward with +1 socketed gems unlinked is roughly like not expensive. When I kick up the regenerate, there's some really cheap ones on trade right now. Not too bad. You know, you can get them relatively cheap. If you do manage to get a Replica Restless Ward that is not 6 socketed and 6 linked, like if you buy that 5 div one, if it's still magically there when you decide to do this, you can actually 6 socket and 6 link it very easily with Tainted Jewelers and Tainted Fusings. You put the 4 link body armor into the crafting bench, type 4, hit 4 sockets, hit it with a Jeweler's Orb. If it goes 5, hit it again, it goes 6, you're done. If it goes 3, click on this again, put it back in, and you can do it. For those of you who don't know, you can absolutely do this on corrupted items. It will 100% work on corrupted items. See how this went corrupted? I'll just showcase this really quick on this. You can actually change the amount of sockets on an item. See, we can easily go 4. We can go back to 2. And we would just type in 4. If it goes 2, click it back to 4. If it goes less, and just keep doing this until it goes 5 and then 6. So like that. And then the same thing with links. You click 4 linked, and then you go 5, and then you go 6. Just like that, and that's how those work. I know somebody's going to be freaking out. I don't have a 6 link body armor or 6 socket body armor to showcase it, but that's pretty much the general gist. It works for everything. If you have questions about how to link the body armor or socket it, leave a comment down below. More than happy to go over it or make you guys a video. The 6th link right now is a 2120 Penance brand of Dissipation. We get 2120 because Penance brand scales really well with levels. So the more levels into Penance brand, the better the skill and the better that will deal damage. We're going to be linking that with an Empower 4. That'll give us +4 levels. We pair it with a Power Charge on crit, a Swift brand support, increased critical damage, and a concentrated effect. Now note, if you are playing the budget version, you will need Awaken Added Lightning Pen and Added Lightning Damage. You cannot use these links in the budget setup. The budget setup is completely different. If you are playing the budget setup, I don't recommend the budget setup, but if you are playing the budget setup and you want to do the budget setup, you have to pay very close attention to what you need. Otherwise, it will not work. Hashtag spoiler disclaimer. Now, I had mentioned endurance charges, I had mentioned frenzy charges, and we are knowing that we are stacking power charges. The reason why this armor is able to work is 2 very important things working together. Well, technically 3 very important things. 1, Ralakesh boots are giving us all of the charges all of the time, permanently on forever and ever and ever. We always have max charges, so we always have 12 power charges, period, because we're stacking power charges. Badge of the Brotherhood says that our power charges are equal, or our frenzy charges are equal to our power charges. So if you were to have, say, 5 power charges, you would have 5 frenzy charges, 6 and 6, 12 is 12. So because we have 12 power charges, we now have 12 frenzy charges. And the last key to the puzzle that gives us the endurance charges is because we're Slayer, and Slayer gives us maximum endurance charges equal to maximum frenzy charges. So you see, that's how the body armor works. The body armor is literally because we stack power charges and then we convert them with the Badge of the Brotherhood, and then we convert them again with Slayer, and then we convert them with Ralakesh. So that's how the body armor works, and that's why we can negate the -2 that's on it. Speaking of Badge of the Brotherhood does one very important thing. We just mentioned it. It gives us a maximum frenzy charges equal to your maximum power charges. That is the only thing we care about on it. Everything else is great. Everything else is cool. We don't care about anything else on it. We just care about the 1 line of text. Your Badge of the Brotherhood gets allocated with infused for maximum power charges, more damage, more everything, more power charges, more frenzy charges, more endurance charges, more survivability, more cast speed, more everything. So very important that we put on power charge. You'll note that my badge has attribute modifiers on it. This build is an extremely tight build on dex and int. You will need to attribute quality your badge of the Brotherhood or it will not work. Now, since we're talking about charges, we'll go over to Rallycash. Rallycash, like I mentioned, has very important lines of text. It says counts as having maximum number of endurance, frenzy, and power charges. The boots are important. You don't care about +1 boots. You don't care about endurance charge on the boots. You don't care about any of that. You just care about putting the boots on. You would like a high % roll of chaos resistance if possible. And you see we're over on cold res, so the cold res not as important as the chaos res. The boots have righteous fire with automation, steel skin, and more duration. I don't want to cast righteous fire every time I go into a map. Neither did Blossom, so that's what the automation's for. Our shield is Malachi's Loop. Malachi's Loop gives us a +2 maximum power charges and spell damage per power charge. It says you lose all power charge upon reaching maximum power charges, but Rallycash Boots always gives us maximum power charges, so that line of text is literally irrelevant. You'll notice when you play that your power charge number will just like do like this cycling thing all the time. Literally irrelevant, don't even worry about it. The shield has Flame Dash, LE Weakness, and Enfeeble. There's a lot of curses in this build. We're going to talk about the curses in a minute. Our gloves are very, very, very straightforward. Our gloves have chaos resistance, dex and int, which is really important, max life, and damage while leeching. The glove implicits, lightning damage, leeches life, and chance to unnerve. Very simple, very straightforward gloves. These gloves are not very expensive at all. The only thing that'll be really expensive is if you buy them fractured with chaos resistance. They're like, I don't know, like 3 divs, it says. Well, they're like not very expensive at the time of recording. I know somebody's be like, how much is the shield? The shield is worthless. How much is the boots? They're like a couple of divs with a really good roll. And the badge of the Brotherhood, how much is that? It's like 60 C. But the gloves are very, very straightforward. I crafted the gloves very easily. I just grabbed a dex essence. I hit it till tier 1 int, and then I used Eldritch Currency to roll for life. I hit tier 3 life. I was happy, good enough, done. The gloves can be redone for Original Sin. The gloves can be redone for a couple other different ways, but for the way that I'm playing it, these gloves are absolutely perfect. The gloves have shield charge, momentum support, faster attacks, and temp chains. Maybe we could just like move around the map really fast and, you know, just kind of get around. What else is there? Let's see. Mageblood. Mageblood speaks for itself. You need a really high roll of dex on your Mageblood. The resistances don't matter too much, and you want to get your strength as high as possible. Attributes quality on the Mageblood. The last major important piece of the gearing is 2 things. 1, I have a maximum power charge ring. When I bought my ring, they were 88 divs. When my buddy Scott bought his, they were 170. When Blossom bought his, they were 40. And these are rings that every single league eventually get up to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of divines. This ring right now is roughly 160 to 200. You care about the item level of the ring because you want to roll the ring with high level of chaos resistance and cast speed and so forth and so on. If you don't know what item level of ring that you need, you can always come over to Craft of Exile, hit jewelry, hit ring, and take a look at over here and see. You see that cast speed has an eye level max level of 30. And then when you come down to chaos resistance, you see there's a max eye level of 81. When I played this build as the budget build, before anything, I needed resistances, and my resistances needed a higher eye level to get the high tier resistances. You see we needed 84. I didn't manage to get an 84 ring. I only managed to get an 83 ring. So if you don't care too much about the resistances because you already have the Mageblood, you're not really too worried about a lot of other things, you could skip getting a really high ring because you only care about chaos, and you can get like an 81 ring. So, you know, one of those things that might be able to save you a little bit of money. I have my ring paired with a Calandra's Touch ring. This way that I have a ring with +2 to maximum power charges and all of these cool stats. If you can't get a power charge ring because they are out of budget, there are options. Options include getting a ring like this. It doesn't have to be a circle of guilt. It could be literally any unique ring that will have +1 to maximum power charges. To search for these rings, we will come to the trade website. We will go to search for items. We will type implicit power charges. We will come over here. We will type ring, and then we will type unique, and then we'll just take a look. These rings right now are about 20 divs each. Not too bad. What you'll do is you'll get one of these rings for 20 divs with a power charge on it, and then your second ring you will craft up to make up the missing cast speed, the crit multi, all the resistances that you need. Whatever you need you can do on the second ring. If you have all of that all figured out already somehow, some way, some magical form, you could just put on a Calandra's Touch and get +2 power charges. If you're not looking for a unique ring, you could set it to any non-unique ring. You can come down here to item level. You could put 81. You can enter, and then you can see that there are rings that are corrupted. You can get the base ring starts at 160, 179, but you can see there are some other rings. Why, how, where these corrupted, or what happened to these, I don't know. It looks like they were unique rings that dropped corrupted, or people corrupted them, and this is what happened. Now, note one very important thing. This bone ring that's 160, if you buy this bone ring, right, and you do this because it's on the cheaper things, where is it? Where's bone ring? Am I blind? I have to be blind. Nameless, cerulean steel, cogware composite, geode ratchling. There's something I want to showcase. And this is the beauty of this website. Where is the bone ring? Am I blind? I'm definitely blind, right? That says ring. Are they not on here? Am I just missing this? Is it under jewelry? Is it under ring? There it is, bone ring. If you do a bone ring, when you go to do these and when you go to craft these, there are other modifiers that are minion modifiers that are specifically on bone rings. It makes it a little bit harder, slightly harder to craft the ring. So just keep that in mind if you were to buy a bone ring. The ring in itself is pretty straightforward to craft. You get essences for crit multi, and you slam crit multi until you get one of two things: cast speed or chaos resistance. That's tier 1. You need tier 1 cast speed. It is very important. If you hit cast speed and a third suffix, you annul the suffix, lock suffix, reforge chaos. If you hit tier 1 chaos, you annul the third suffix, lock suffix, reforge speed, and it should give you what you need. If you have questions about crafting the ring, please ask down below. Don't try to do things on your own if you don't really know. It is a very expensive craft if you mess it up a whole lot of times. As far as our prefixes go, just life, just basic life. And that's really it. Our flask, the important flask, is a diamond, bismuth, and silver flask. Bismuth for resistances and increased effect, silver for increased effect and onslaught, and diamond for increased effect crit. The suffixes, the cannot be stunned, the crit chance, and the avoid shock can go on any of these. Any of these 3 flasks can have any of the suffixes. You can mix and match as you choose. As far as the 4th flask slot, I have a quicksilver flask here that I use occasionally, and I have a rarity flask. This is your flex slot. You can do pretty much whatever you want with it. As far as flasks go, your 5th flask slot is your unique flask slot. You can use Oriascend for while you're mapping, and you use Bottle of Faith for clear. If you happen to have an explode weapon, you no longer need this. This becomes irrelevant, and you always use this. So you get to pick and choose how you want. As far as gear options and upgrades go, I know Blossom is working very extensively on changing the build. He's currently doing a lot of things. I don't want to leak what he's doing and what's going on and what he's working on, but there is a version he will have eventually with the Zebu helm, an OSIN, a bunch of clusters, some cool shield. There's some tech he's working on. Whenever I get it and he's done, I could share it with you guys. But we eventually made the swap to this beauty of a monstrosity. This is I look at this weapon, I don't even have words. The thing is crazy. It does everything you want it to do, and it's what I've been playing with as of like the last 3 days. So eventually you get to upgrade to this, and this makes everything really cool, and you get the haunted modifier on it. I paid 1 mirror and 75 divs for this because mirrors were 750 when I paid it, and it was 1.1 on trade. So that's what I paid for this. Overall, though, if you're not using this and you're using this, your biggest expense is going to be your mageblood, and your biggest expense is going to be your 2-stone ring in terms of gear. Outside of gear, things get a little bit more expensive when we come down to the tree here. I mentioned earlier that we're playing Slayer. Slayer is very important because of this node right here, Masterful Form. This says, once again, your maximum endurance charges are equal to your maximum frenzy charges. So we stack power charges. Thanks to Badge of the Brotherhood, gets converted to frenzy charges. Thanks to this, gets converted to endurance charges. We're going to take this for increased leech. Life leech effects are not removed. 10% reduced damage taken while leeching. We're always leeching. We're constantly hitting things. This gives us more regeneration, more recovery. This is really nice. We deal way more damage if we killed recently. We take 0 fizz damage. So once we're able to fully convert our damage, we take no fizz damage. So we can do fizz reflect maps. We deal more damage with hits and elements against unique enemies, and just 10% more damage. And lastly, we have 20% calling strike. We have increased attack speed. We have movement speed. The attack speed is literally irrelevant, but we get more movement speed and we get calling strike. Calling strike's sweet. The other big reason why we're duelists, and I mentioned this earlier, is we're using a Forbidden Flame and Flesh. We're using a Forbidden Flame and Flesh for more than skill. I'm pulling up POB so that I could show this on the tree. More than skill says chance to block attack or spell damage is lucky if you've blocked recently. So, like I showcased, we have an 80% chance to block spell and attack damage. If that 80% block happens and we put our shield up and we block and we don't immediately just die because we got 20%ed, and they just managed to, like, say fizz hit us and just immediately kill us, and we do happen to block, we then go from an EHP of 124,000 to an EHP of 800,000. And I think this number is a little deceiving and a little misleading, but the reason why this happens is because Lucky Block is so insane that after we block the first hit, we have 96% chance to block. It's a lot. That's literally a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. That pretty much says that if we don't die on the first hit, which you saw, we really didn't die, we really didn't take a lot of damage outside of unblockable things like Shaper Slam, you really don't die. You can just take a hit. Unless you roll your map like me and it doesn't have, has no chance to block on it, removes all your block, then you die. But I mean, like, you can block and not die. The Forbidden Flame and the Forbidden Flesh combo of this has literally done this all league. Sometimes it's like this right now, where there's this guy who has it at 25 divs for the blue side. I don't know if that's price fixed or not, but the blue side right now is about 34, 35 divines. And the red side right now is another 35 divines. I've seen my friends pick up the pair for 40 divs. I've seen my friends pick up the pair for 70 divs. I paid about 40 divs for my pair, but that's one of the biggest reasons why we're doing duelists. You also see I have a bunch of block tattoos here just to cap out my block. We have block notables here, which are very important. You see, we take a lot of block masteries for block attack and spell damage. We take block masteries here too. We have an impossible escape for versatile combatant, which is down over here. This gives us more block nodes. And then everything else is pretty straightforward. Barbarism for more life and more fire resistance and maximum fire resistance because it's a good defensive layer. We have a Storm Shroud to avoid being shocked, so we're ailment immune, that we pair up really nicely with our Silver Flask. We come across over here, we get a Shield Mastery for more block, Sanctuary for more block, more max res, the Forbidden Flame and Flesh. We get some spell damage, some cast speed, some int, some strength, some chance to free shock and ignite, so we're always free shocking and igniting. We come over here for a Brand Mastery for 2 additional brands. We get cast speed with brands. Enemies take more damage with brands. Another block mastery, more block chance, recover on block. I mean, this is energy shield, which is like still really nice because it allows us to get more energy shield to cast our spells, which is really nice. We do have a lot of life gain on block too, which is also really nice. We gain 30 life on block. I mean, 30 is 30, but you block 400 attacks a second. That's a lot of block. We come over here, we get Reservation Mastery. We're getting some sovereignty. We get this whole wheel here for some chaos resistance and some life. The crit wheel up here for more crit damage and stuff like that. We have a Brand Mastery for increased brand range. You can cast 2 additional brands. Over here, we have a Charge Mastery for damage per endurance, frenzy, and power charges. We have 36 charges, so we deal a whole lot of damage. We gain increased damage per power charge. more life over here, mana reservation over here, maximum mana over here, another power charge, and this militant faith. This militant faith is really important. Things to note about this militant faith: it needs to be Dominus. It 100% has to be Dominus. Dominus gives us inner conviction, which gives us more spell damage per power charge. 12 power charges, 12 times 3, lots of more damage, lots of more damage. Things to note: elemental resistance per devotion is really important. This is how we cap our elemental resistances when our gear is really bad, and we just barely make the resistances, and we get increased brand damage per devotion. If you don't have resistance problems because you don't have the bare minimum of gear like I did, you might not need it, but I know everybody that I've talked to has needed this to have elemental damage or elemental resistance per devotion. Things to note: when you are searching for these timeless jewels, you need to make sure that this is Dominus, and you need to have these mods on it. There are a lot of them. There are an absolute metric ton of them. To know if this one is going to screw you or not, press this button here for copy item, bring over POB, come over here, control V the item in, add this item to your build, swap this with the new one that you just put in, and double and triple check the nodes. This is very, very, very important. Sometimes these militant faiths with these new weird numbers will change these nodes around. So this 3550 that I just happened to accidentally check, this is still good, this is still good, and this is still good. So this one would be fine. But let's just say I grab this one, this 5298, and I don't really know, and I put this in, and I add this to my build. Before I buy it, you see this node got changed. Double and triple check these jewels. It is very, very, very important. You don't want to be like me and accidentally buy the wrong one like 4 times. So I'm saving you the hassle and the headache from now of explaining how this works. Then otherwise, Eldritch Battery so that we can cast our spells. Now note, there's a couple of things. We have a cluster here. We have Corrosive Elements, Doriana's Lessons, and Storm Drinker. Doriana's Lesson goes in the back. We don't really care about it. Corrosive Elements gives us a chance to apply a fire, colder, and lightning exposure. Because we have Penance brand, we are dealing a bunch of lightning damage. We are really happy about that. I think there was a way that we were converting some of our damage to cold. I don't remember off the top of my head, but this gives us lightning exposure. Storm Drinker for penetrate elemental damage for lightning, and gives us lightning damage leeches energy shield to maintain our mana. We have 2 Grand Design Remarkable Jewels here. These give us brand damage, brand scale duration, and increased brand attachment range. These are really necessary to maintain the activation rate of 20. Without these, you might not get the activation rate. You see in this POB, I don't have the second cluster. That's because I have this on and I don't have anything else. But if I didn't have this weapon on, I wouldn't have enough activation range. This weapon has like an absolute metric ton of cast speed. If you are using the Void Battery version, you want both of these clusters. I will have the POB up with the Void Battery one, and I will have the POB up with this wand too, so that you can make the adjustments as well. If you manage to get this wand, you no longer need this cluster, and you can take out this entire cluster and not have to worry about it. And then you can put these points into, like, I don't know, a caster mastery if you wanted it, and just kind of go like this, so that you have chance to open up thingy mabobbers. Because this is literally currently the way that I'm playing it. I'm literally playing it like this. Other important things to note: I have a critical strike chance with hatred and cast speed with zealotry. This is another one of those things that is very important to note, that the zealotry mod is allowing me to get the cast speed that I need to get the activations. You see the minimum roll on this is about 5, 9, 11, 12 divines. You can buy a minimum roll one. You care a lot about the cast speed. You want to get the cast speed as close to 15 as possible. I know me personally, I need to redivine mine to get to 15. I also need to redivine my ring to get to 16 here. I'm getting there. I've been lazy. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is we have a lot of curses in our setup. We have LE weakness, temp chains, and enfeeble. That's because we use a balance of terror. This balance of terror gives us fizz damage as random element if you cast an LE weakness in the past 10 seconds. So while I'm doing 17s, every so often I'll just cast LE weakness, and for the next 10 seconds I get an extra 39% damage. A lot of 17s have that really awkward mod that says action speeds reduced by how many casts you do, and a lot of Valdo maps have that like petrification statue. This balance of terror with temp chains allows me to just do this once, and then I'm immune to all that. So if you're running a 17 and you get that really awkward petrify statue or action speed mod, usually you would just roll over it. But if the map is really nice, you just every so often, you just do this. That's it. This negates everything. It negates all the slows from Deli. It negates all the slows from Shade or Elder. It negates everything in 17s. So every so often while I'm mapping, I'll just do this, and then I just don't have to worry. The reason we have Enfeeble is there's another balance of terror that you can get with LE weakness and Enfeeble, and it gives you crit reduction. But that's really it. That's straightforward. That's the whole build. If you have any questions about it, let me know. This is, comments down below. This video was a little bit longer than I planned it to be, but I really wanted to take some time and explain everything going on. I love this build. I'm enjoying this build a lot. I have farmed up a mirror wand for it. I have self-farmed for it an original sin. I'm getting some other pieces of gear together for it that I'm getting there and I'm putting together. But this build has been absolutely positively fantastic. I highly, 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 highly recommend it. Like I said, I'm not trying to convince you to play it, but if you do choose to play it, or you are looking for something cool and you've got a ton of currency burning a hole in your pocket, it is literally been one of my favorite things to play. I love every minute of it. It has been an absolute godsend. I have managed to do tier 17 farming. I've managed to do everything. I've managed to get more gold than I know what to do with, because you could just like blitz 17s. I currently have 7 million gold for the next 22 days of like everyone doing their jobs. It has done everything I wanted to do in this league. It has been an absolute pleasure to play. I can't thank Blossom enough for putting it together, my community for encouraging me to put it together, and pretty much, all of you guys for, watching and supporting what I do. Like I said, if you do put this together and you do try it, or you have any questions, let me know what happens. Let me know how it went. And, overall, have fun, man. I don't know. This league's been great. I love everything about this league. I've been having an absolutely fantastic time, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic league as well. But for now, friends, I'm going to get this video out to you guys, and then as there are updates or things change, or as, things are figured out, I will let you guys know. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so that you get more updates as they come. And yeah, that's about it. But for now, friends, I'll see you all in the next one.